What's up, friends and haters? It's your old pal Staggerson Jagz, and today we're doing JP Sears because if you ever weren't quite sure about this guy, he has made himself clear nowadays. So we're gonna go ahead and just get right into this. I mean, I've actually known that this guy was kind of a chud for a couple years now. But this new stuff that he's putting out is, wow, it's hot fire. It's got some stank on it. It's got a little bit of stank on it, if you know what I mean. So let's go ahead and just get into it. How about we do that? CDC, why critical thinking is dangerous. That seems like a good a place to start as any.
Hi, I'm Dr. Death with the Center for Dominance and Control Over People. Critical thinking.
Off to a hot start. I gotta say, we are off to a hot start. That thing he just said is completely absurd. I actually used to think this guy had a brain. Even when I started not liking him anymore, I still thought at least he's got a brain. I just don't like the way he's using it. This is totally brainless. This is complete 100% chud bait. Unless, do you think he's just doing this on purpose as chud bait? Trying to get paid? I'm just blown away by that video started. Let's start it over again so we can take it in again together.
Hi, I'm Dr. Death with the Center for Dominance and Control Over People.
No subtlety. No fucking nuance, just bash, just head bash. I'm Dr. Death with the Center for Dominance and Control Over People. He's talking about the CDC, the Center for Disease Control, and he's calling it the Center for Control, for Dominance and Control Over People. Okay.
Critical thinking isn't a pandemic we have to worry about.
JP, sometimes you just accidentally get the right answer.
The future. It's a pandemic that's here now. The critical thinking crisis is upon us. What are we doing to combat this disaster?
Yeah.
Well, it's probably not what you think.
There is a critical
the measures
thinking
we're
crisis.
taking in just a moment.
And it's
but
not,
first,
it's not
let's take a look at the harm that critical thinking causes. People think it's safe to just...
The irony here, it's so deep. You could almost think... See, this is why I and many others can be forgiven for not being sure about this guy in the first place, because I think now that I think back, maybe sometimes I was laughing at the wrong side of what he was saying. Maybe he was being a little bit more serious than I thought when I thought he was, because somebody could easily watch this and get confused about who he's trying to make fun of. It's like self-parody levels of obnoxious chuddery here.
Just laugh at things like the New York Times article warning against critical thinking, but they have no idea against critical thinking.
Can we see the article? Can we see what the article says? Or are we just reading the headline? Because critical thinking.
But they have no idea that the catastrophic effects of critical thinking are worse than they think. This dangerous practice propagates information and is therefore very dangerous to the misinformation and disinformation that we're trying to help you with. Now, viewer discretion is advised. Studies show that critical thinkers are less prone to believing official-looking statistics that aren't true in objective reality. Critical thinkers tend to ask questions and do things like impair the agenda of the World Economic Forum.
The fucking irony, man. What if somebody watches your videos and starts asking some questions, JP?
And what the past 2 years have taught us is obedience is what makes us a happy, healthy, sleeping society. When critical thinking goes up, obedience goes down. And can you imagine?
Aren't you like a pusher of like the trad life? Do you think we should all be walking around naked, just having sex in the streets, or do you think we should obey some sort of semblance of societal normativity? You know what I mean? Like, we have to do certain things to help keep each other safe in a society. I'm sure you would agree with that, right, JP?
Have you ever realized when you're critically thinking, what you're really doing is oppressing the elites? If you practice critical thinking...
Who says this shit? Who says this shit? You know who says that the elites are getting oppressed is the elites when we want to raise their taxes and shit like that. This shit is off the fucking rails wild. It is nuts. He has just totally gone into his own fucking world.
Have you ever realized when you're critically thinking, what you're really doing is oppressing the elites? If you practice critical thinking, then you won't be in touch with objective reality. And the problem with that is you won't be scared of grave dangers that don't...
I think he knows what he's doing. I think he is purposely putting out the most confusing, obnoxious bullshit, man, because he knows who are going to swallow it up. He knows the people that are going to swallow this up.
Exist in objective reality that we can protect you from. And if
blah,
you're not
blah,
protected
blah,
from
reality,
them, then
blah, blah, blah.
you can just think about what would happen. We found no evidence that humans have a neocortex, or an immune system for that matter. Well,
this guy's going to go off about critical thinking and then say that the CDC doesn't think humans have it. The fucking vaccine works with your immune system. That's how the goddamn vaccine works. It works right off of your immune system. It boosts your immune system. It's like if your immune system is an army, the vaccine is like supplying it with modern weapons to fight the enemies. Your immune system is Saudi Arabia, and COVID is the people that is Yemen, and the vaccine is American weapons.
critical thinking is the problem. What are we doing about it? Well, we are on a mission, and we'll stop at nothing to ban critical thinking.
This is
just
nonsense,
imagine a socialist utopia
Halfway,
society
3 minutes.
free of the burden.
Hold on, that was hot. Let me see that again.
Just imagine a socialist utopia.
Yeah. Yeah. Hell yeah. Where's that at?
In the 1930s, the Nazis' propaganda wouldn't have been able to influence.
In the 1930s, the Nazis ended vaccine mandates.
Germany to go in the right direction if critical thinking was allowed. And the tens of millions of people that Stalin protected by killing them.
The depth of the irony of this video. It's just so juicy. It's like a lasagna, right? Because if a person applied any sort of critical thinking to anything my man is saying here, then like they would probably be wasting their time, to be honest, because it's not worth it.
In the 1930s, the Nazis' propaganda wouldn't have been able to influence Germany to go in the right direction if critical thinking was allowed. And the tens of...
What? What? What the fuck is he saying? He said... What? He's winning. He's winning the psychic battle. Lend me your energy. Fuck. What the fuck? He said that playing the part of Dr. Death, he says the Nazos wouldn't have been allowed to go in the right direction, so his character, who was supposed to be the anti-hero of our story, believes that what Hitler did was good, and that critical thinking could have stopped it. I wonder, do the modern day Nazos, do you think they agree with most of what JP is saying, or do you think that they disagree with most of what JP is saying? Curious.
Millions of people that Stalin protected by killing them.
What the fuck, dude? What? This is such fucking dribble. This is like the most shitting of the mouth that I've ever fucking seen. And oh my god.
Never would have been protected if society rejected his propaganda in the name of critical thinking. With regard to what influences people, there's a very inverse...
Is any critical thinking going into this? None of this shit makes any fucking sense, man. I'm having a hard time here. This guy is completely fucking nutty.
Relationship between propaganda and critical thinking. That's why the modern day book burning practices of censorship, fact checking, and deplatforming.
In another one of his videos, he's going to talk about CRT. Do you know that the modern day book burning, the actual book burning that's happening, comes from people on the right who are burning books that, you know, teach what they call critical race theory. You know, books that are just critical of the way America has treated minorities in the past, or that tell the story of the minority experience. Those books are literally being burned, JP Sears. Literally. And I don't mean figuratively. I mean actually, literally burned. I know that word doesn't have any meaning anymore, and we need new words, but you'll just ruin those ones.
Are so important.
I need a cigarette.
Whenever you feel tempted to think critically,
like he's
just
doing
turn on
like
the news and let one of our useful
like
idiots that we pay place the
Uno
correct
reverse
thoughts in your
mind
head.
trick
It's like if
on
you
his
were a
audience,
gardener,
you know what I mean?
you wouldn't want to
Like
just grow
he's
your own
subconsciously
vegetables when you could grow
brute
someone else's
forcing
weeds
these ideas
instead.
into
You think
his
banning
audience's
critical
mind
thinking is an
with a
uphill task
double
that's
reverse,
someone else's responsibility? That's where you're wrong.
Sarcasm,
You can help too.
sardonic.
How can you help? Well, when you see someone
clown
who's
show.
showing symptoms of curiosity,
Absolute
where they're on the
fucking
verge
clown
of
show.
thinking about something, teach them how to look it up instead of thinking about it.
Why
I
don't
want
you-
over obedience.
JP, do that. Look up how vaccines work. Look up the efficacy of masks. Look up the reality of all the things that you're saying instead of just accepting. You're doing the thing that you're saying the other people are doing, JP. Actually, you're the one doing it.
Friendly websites like PolitiFact, factcheck.org, or Google, you'll find the thought police have already done the thinking for
I'm
them.
gonna try to
So
smoke
they won't
as many
have
of these as
to.
I
Wouldn't
can
you
and give
rather have
myself
someone do the dirty work for
Minecraft.
you? Like mowing your lawn, doing your dishes, doing your wife, doing your thinking, so you won't have to? If you see someone who insists on putting everyone in danger by thinking critically, the right thing to do is to shame them by calling them things like racist,
This is so fucking confusing and twisty and turny. It's like really hard to like pin down what he's actually saying in each comment. I know what the gist of it is though, so I mean I get what he's getting at, but like this is so fucking backwards and weird, and then he's doing it all from this satirical, exaggerated straw man that he himself has just invented. Literally, he introduced himself, first line in the video, he introduced himself as Dr. Death from the Center for Domination and Control Over People. Like, fucking starting off at 11, dude. Like, whoa, slow down, ease in, kiss me first.
science denier, white supremacist, and anti-vaxxer. You becoming a soldier and self-policing other citizens into compliance by shaming them and intimidating them is really the only way the elites can be successful.
This is obviously just a ploy to get idiots to have an excuse to not care if they get called those things he just named. That's the whole point. He wanted to put those words out there to discredit them This whole entire video is to discredit the idea of calling somebody a science denier or a white supremacist or an anti-vaxxer. That's what the point of this is. He is, I don't know yet. We're going to watch a few more videos. We'll see. We're going to try to figure out if he's smart or dumb. And sometimes it can be really hard to tell with these people. Like Alex Jones, way smarter than he comes across on his show. Way smarter than that. He doesn't believe most of that stuff. You know what I mean? He's putting on a show. He's smart. He knows what his audience wants, and he feeds it to them. And I think maybe that might be what's going on here. Only because I refuse to believe that I share a species with somebody. It doesn't even make sense. We cannot be the same kind of animal and have these two different types of brainwaves going on in our heads.
Successful on this one. We are never going to have a free society where everyone is free to do as they're told if everyone's still enslaved by their own thinking and therefore free will. And now I'm going to hold this again to look more intelligent and soften my tone from authoritarian to friendly.
There's like no
But with a little
debunking
help,
to even do
we
here.
can
This is
together
just
put an
stupid. He's
end
just
to
dumb.
critical
He's
thinking
just
once
saying
and
wrong things. He's just making up things and saying them, and they're all wrong and dumb. Let's go on to the next one.
Do a little talk on not taking ourselves so seriously. So there's a little mantra. I'll ask you to repeat after me. Y'all up for this? I'm full of shit.
I just fell down a mine shaft and hit a gold nugget. I mean, you heard it here first, folks. Well, you heard it from him 4 years ago. He's full of shit. This is what, see, he's trying to get all these other people to admit that they're full of shit because conservatives think that everybody thinks the way they do. They think that we just react to whatever we hear in the same way they do, so they want to just push their story louder because they don't think anybody actually looks at the evidence more than they do. And that's all I fucking needed to hear.
And it's okay.
It's not okay,
I'm
Jim.
full of shit. And it's okay.
No, see this?
And one more time for the Trinity. I'm full of shit. And it's okay. I personally believe all people are full of shit all of the time.
See? What did I say?
But when
See? He thinks that everyone's full of shit, so his shit just needs to be louder and catchier than anybody else's. I fucking told you. I fucking nailed it. This clip is going in every YouTube video I make from now on.
when I'm full of shit, and I don't know I'm full of shit, that's called seriousness. And I think seriousness is a sphincter that constricts consciousness, so our energy
see, he knows
can't
he's
come
full
out.
of shit. He knows he's full of shit, because in those other videos we were watching, he didn't seem very serious, did he? He doesn't seem serious, so he must not be serious, so he must be full of shit, and he must know that he's full of shit, according to his own words. JP Sears, you gave the game away, my man. Wasn't that about some bullshit? Hey, if you liked the video, go ahead and hit the like button. If you didn't like it, go away and leave me alone. You can always subscribe. I recommend following me on Twitch, where I do this live. If you want to give me money, that's pretty cool. I want to make this my job because I don't have a job, and this could be a job. So if you subscribe to my Patreon, I would love that a lot. Just a ton. I think that would be great. But other than that, if you want to help support the channel, do like I said and hit the like button, the subscribe button, and share this video to Twitter. That'd be neat.